Brienne here from Hooked on Homemade Happiness, and welcome back to my channel. Today in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet the Tunisian Honeycomb Stitch. If you are a beginner to Tunisian crochet, I have a video linked below just for you. So go ahead and check out that video first, and then come on back and you can give the honeycomb stitch a try. For this stitch, I am using a J 6mm Tunisian crochet hook and worsted weight yarn. And for this stitch, you will need to have an odd number of chains. So for this tutorial, I will chain 11. So get your yarn on your hook and make your odd number of chains. So here is my chain 11. I'm going to just do a regular Tunisian foundation row. So starting in the second chain from my hook, using this back bump here, I'm going to insert my hook into that chain and yarn over and pull up a loop. I'm going to do that all the way across my row in each chain. So here is my first forward pass for my foundation row. Now I'm going to do my return pass, which is a chain 1, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You're going to do that all the way across your row until there is 1 loop left on your hook. And there is my foundation row for the honeycomb stitch. Now we're going to start to do some of that. We're going to start to create that honeycomb pattern. So we're going to be alternating simple stitch and the purl stitch. So as always, we have our first stitch already on our hook, so we're not going to do anything with this edge stitch here. So we're going to start here. I'm going to start with a simple stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook into that vertical bar and yarn over and pull up a loop. In the next stitch, I'm going to do a purl. And a purl stitch where you're going to bring the yarn to the front, insert your hook into that bar, and then bring your yarn back, and then yarn over and pull up a loop. So it creates that texture right here in the front, that horizontal bar, that mixed with this vertical bar is what's going to create that honeycomb shape and texture for this stitch. So now again, I'm going to do the simple stitch in the next. So we're going to alternate simple and purl. So here's my next stitch. Insert my hook into that vertical bar and yarn over and pull up a loop. Now I'm going to do a purl stitch. So I need to bring my yarn to the front, insert my hook into that bar, bring my yarn back around the back of my hook, and then yarn over and pull up my loop. So next is a simple stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook into this vertical bar here and yarn over and pull up a loop. And now we do the purl stitch. I'm going to bring my yarn to the front, insert my hook, and then bring it back around the back of my hook, and then yarn over and pull up a loop. And I need to do the simple stitch here in the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then we're going to purl stitch in the next. So bring my yarn forward, insert your hook into that stitch, bring the yarn back around, and then yarn over and pull up a loop. And here is my last vertical bar where I'm going to do a simple stitch. And then I'm to my edge stitch here. We're going to insert our hook into those 2 loops along the edge and yarn over and pull up a loop. So there is the forward pass for row 2. We're alternating the simple and purl stitches. If you So because we have an odd number of stitches, we started with simple and we should end with the simple stitch as we do that alternating across. So we're going to do our return pass, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 all the way across the row. So now for the next row, for row 3, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to start with a purl stitch and then alternate with the purl and simple. So this row we're going to start with the purl stitch. So I'm going to start by pulling my yarn forward and then insert your hook into the next vertical bar and then bring your yarn back to the back of the work and then yarn over, pull up a loop and then a simple stitch in the next and then purl stitch and simple stitch in the next, purl stitch, simple stitch, purl stitch, and simple stitch. And here is my last stitch, which should be a purl. If I started with purl, it should end with purl. And then bring that yarn to the front. And then I will do my edge stitch here as usual and yarn over and pull up a loop. So there's our forward pass for row 3. Now a return pass, chain 1 and yarn over, pull through 2 all the way across the row until you have 1 loop left on your hook. And those 2 rows are going to be the pattern for the honeycomb stitch. So we can repeat them here together one more time. So since our last row started with purl stitches, our next row is going to start with the simple stitch. I'm going to do a simple stitch here in my very first stitch there, and then a purl stitch in the next. And simple stitch and purl stitch, simple stitch, purl stitch, simple, and a purl, and then a simple. Should end with a simple since I started my row with a simple stitch. And then now I'll do my edge stitch where I'll insert my hook into both those loops along the side and yarn over and pull up a loop. Now I will do my return pass. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2 all the way across my row. Okay, and then let's do one more repeat for row 4. So you could already start to see those honeycomb shapes start to form in the texture. So our last row, we started with simple stitches. So in this row, we're going to start with a purl stitch. I'm going to bring the front, insert your hook into that vertical bar, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then simple stitch in the next, and alternate that across your row. Here is my last stitch, and now I'm going to do the edge stitch along the side, and then I'm going to do my return pass. So just go ahead and continue repeating those 2 rows, alternating simple stitch and purl stitch, and doing starting with the opposite stitch each row to create this honeycomb pattern. So go ahead and repeat that until the project is the length you're looking for, and then come on back and we will bind off our project. Here I have finished a few more rows alternating those simple and purl stitches. So now I'm going to bind off my project, and we're just going to use a regular Tunisian crochet bind off. So I'm going to insert my hook into the vertical bar and pull that loop through the bar and through the loop of my hook. I'm going to do that all the way across the top of my row. Here's my last vertical bar, and I'm going to do the last stitch just like I do the other edge stitches, inserting my hook into both of those loops along the side. Pull that through and then pull it through the loop on my hook. Go ahead and snip your yarn and pull it through. And you can see this beautifully textured stitch with just that subtle honeycomb texture throughout. And this stitch luckily does not curl like some other Tunisian stitches. It lays pretty flat. This would be so pretty on a sweater or a cardigan or maybe a headband or a beanie. Lots of different choices for this really pretty Tunisian crochet stitch. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.